It's time for a Titan FPV review. It's time for a Titan FPV review.
Hey guys, Titan Z here, back to do another video review. This time going to be reviewing Transformers Universe King Atlas. Or Dai Atlas, as some more hardcore fans may want to call him. Yes, this is something I recently picked up on Amazon, surprisingly. Found it at a rather decent price of about $38. This is a pretty awesome figure. Now, it's based on the G2/G1.5 Skyquake figure from Generation 1. And the reason I don't have that figure is, one, it's ridiculously expensive online, and two, finding one that doesn't have its booster thruster here broken is impossible. And if you heard that in the background, sorry, my dad's watching television. What you're gonna do? And the reason you can't find this without it being broken is because the G1 figure was a sufferer of the gold plastic syndrome. For those who don't know what gold plastic syndrome is, Hasbro's gold plastic between the 1980s, when Transformers first started, and maybe it was 2001 for the most part, has a major flaw in it. No, 2007, because one of the more recent figures also suffered from it. From like 1980s to 2007, they used a gold plastic that had a swirled feature to it, which caused it to become very brittle and suffer major, not breaks, but shatters. Toys that had it just completely shattered or crumbled in your hands when you held them. It was very ridiculous. The original G1 Skyquake was a sufferer of that. My Transmetal Megatron has that problem and broke one of his arms off. And my 2007 Starscream Protoform figure broke one of his arms off because of the gold plastic syndrome. So it was a bit of a problem. So my options on picking this up were either Machine War Starscream or King Atlas. I figured I'd go with King Atlas since Machine War Starscream was just a little bit more expensive. But yeah, this is a pretty decent figure. The jet mode is based on the RX-72 Blackbird, a heavily modified RX-72 Blackbird. I don't think it's going to quite have the kind of engine setup that a normal Blackbird would have. But yeah, he's pretty cool. He does have a few gimmicks here in his vehicle mode. One, if you flip this switch up, you get translucent vents exposed. Now, on the packaging for at least King Atlas, they say this is solar panels. I'm not sure what Skyquake called them, but I think the Machine War Starscream called them solar panels too. I may be wrong on that. Now, the other feature came from back when Skyquake was a figure. One of the major things you could do was you could put your eye in there and look through it. Now, one of the things is that you would have another flying G2 or G1.5 figure land on here with a special picture card, and you could look through here and see a special picture of that Transformer. It was kind of interesting. The other thing you could do is pop that part up, and to make sure there's enough light, you could see looking down. Basically, this was to help with the action feature of turning these to open those, and it would release the little bombs like I've got strapped on his wings. Basically, the original figure and the Machine Wars figure both came with like 16 of these little Scud missiles, but this one only comes with 6. Yeah. Oh well. I think the King Atlas version is pretty good, although the box art does describe him of having these engine blocks, these pieces that surround the engines, being completely black like this bit. And obviously it's not, as this is all white. Kind of would have preferred it that way, just to break up the white just a little bit more. One other thing you all have, if you can see it, is that they put a fair bit amount of weathering on this figure. I mean, they put some nice weather wash on this. I'm actually kind of impressed. You just don't see Hasbro painting figures like this like they do anymore. Of course, they also don't make figures this big like they used to either. So yeah. Like I said, you can't attach the bombs here. I'm doing it only for this review. I'm gonna take them off as soon as I'm done with this review. I am terrified that I'm going to break the peg off with these, because I remember figures that had, not Transformer figures, but other figures that had pegs similar to this with little bits you could attach like that, and they snapped off just from me, moving it around. So, yeah, aside from this review, this is the only time I'm really going to keep these missiles on here, and the only reason I don't keep them in the bombardier area is because they rattle around in there a little too much, and I can't stand that noise. So, with that said, I'm going to head to robot mode, but probably between here and robot mode, I'm probably going to pause the video to show you his head, or gonna make a third part of this video to show you specifically his head mode, because I don't know if I'll be able to pick it up with the way I've got my camera set up right now. So, I'll be right back. As I was saying, I wanted to show off the head before I did the rest of the body, just because the head looks really cool. Now, again, they haven't changed the head between Skyquake or Starscream, but one of the things they did differently, unlike the last two, is the faceplate. I love how they've painted the faceplate to kind of look like a King Arthur's beard. That is really cool, and really makes up for one of the major problems of this figure. Its light piping sucks. Unlike the Starscream and the Skyquake versions of this figure, this light piping in here is so... the plastic is so dark, I could put this high-powered light in here, and you could still barely see the plastic light up. Like, I can only get one eye to light up, really. It's ridiculous. It's just something I really find annoying, especially when they give you the option of actually pushing something up that blocks the light from coming in. So, yeah. Move this back in. Turn this back down. There we go. But yes, this is him, King Atlas, or Dai Atlas, in his robot mode, and it is a fair bit of awesome. Now, yes, he's G1, so that's it on articulation. What'd you expect? He's more 20+ year old toy, or 20+ year old mold. You were expecting a lot of articulation from him? The only thing he is missing from his Generation 1 figure Skyquake is his missile launcher. He did come with one, and apparently the missile launcher broke all kinds of safety regulations that they had during Machine Wars and obviously Universe's run. So it wasn't issued with this figure. Oh well. It was an interesting one, and he still has the pegs to hold the gun, and it's the same size as the pegs that hold on the missile, so it probably more than one of those guns out there with broken pegs. Oh well. I really do love this mold. I'd love to see this mold design, the King Atlas, the Machine Wars Starscream, the Generation 2 Skyquake, put through the current generation toys filter. Give him the cool articulation. Give him, cool new features. You don't have to put in, because one of the main problems is that giant thruster you saw on the back of the vehicle mode now ends on the back of the toy, and it is a bit of a problem. So it would be really cool to see this figure get thrown through that generation's Titan's Return, whatever the next toy line for that will be called, into this mold. I would love to see a King Atlas or a Dai Atlas using this type of figure's design. And one of the reasons I'd love to see them take a crack at it is I would love to see them with putting these parts on a swivel so you could point the thrusters down like a jetpack. But that's just me. I really, really would love to see something like that. Because I think this is a great figure, despite it being, G1, and obviously it can't move too well. But, what you gonna do? If you could find one, I would recommend picking them up. I wouldn't pay more in packaging than maybe for the Universe version, 20 or not 20, or more than about $40 basically. I wouldn't pay more than $40 in packaging. The way mine showed up in its packaging, I kind of feel a little gypped because the packaging is destroyed on the top for the most part. It looks like someone decided to kick it around like it was a soccer ball. But, yeah, I still think it's a great figure and definitely worth your time picking up. This one or the G2, or not, this one or the Machine Wars Starscream, definitely worth grabbing. I don't know if you should try to track down the G2 Skyquake. Because of the gold plastic syndrome, it's probably broken. And if it isn't broken, if you do find one that isn't broken, it's probably a ridiculous markup price and will break on you eventually. That's just the nature of that plastic. But what you gonna do? So until next time, this is Titan's Head saying I'll see ya when I see ya.